Hello. Hello. All right, I think we're getting it going here. All right, looks like we are live. All right, cool beans. What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being with me. Now, the content I'm getting ready to show you this evening. Oh, wait. I've talked about this. I've mentioned this. I've brought it up multiple times. I kept telling people, y'all need to get ready. Y'all need to pay attention. Y'all need to understand what they are doing. My name is Will Johnson. My website is uniteamericanfirst.com. You can send me a text you can send me a text 74121. Send text UAF to 74121 to get information that you need to know about. God bless America. Yes. So it's almost like I'm constantly telling people, and it's like I don't want to be like that boy that called Wolf. Y'all know that story? You know that story? The boy that called Wolf. And I don't want to be that person, because if I'm constantly talking about it and I keep telling people what they're going to do, it's not that I have this, all-seeing eye or like I have this crystal ball or, prophet. I don't claim to be a prophet. I just say that, look, I see the writing on the wall, but I told people that this stuff was going to happen. And what is today? Today is the first of what? June. Oh my goodness, the 1st of June. And I think this is going to be the most demonic month for them creating this thing ever in the history of them creating this thing. I mean, it's so bizarre. And what really gets me is that many of them kept saying that, well, hey, we're not grooming children. That's not our idea. We're not grooming children. And that's exactly what they're doing. They came out the box. Came out the bat. They came out right immediately grooming children. They're not even hiding it. They don't care. They'll tell you that, hey, but I mean, come on, think about this. We're talking about people who follow Satan, going to sit there and tell us that they're not going to groom children. And then when they start grooming children, then they be like, what are you talking about? This is just us being us. It's just, it's just being good. Why would we believe them in the first place? When they do everything of Satan, these people doing stuff of Satan, the entire left, all this stuff is about Satan. And I told y'all, I kept telling people, y'all need to be on the lookout. This stuff is coming. I can't make it up. I'm going to share some stuff with you tonight that, if you have children in the room, keep them there because they need to know. I'm not going to show anything violent, nothing grotesque, but you know what? You need to start talking to your children more. If you're not talking to your children, you need to start talking to them. Because these people with these sick minds, they're targeting your children. They're literally targeting your children in multiple ways, more than one. This first one that I want to share with you tonight, and I want to thank everybody for joining me. Thank you so much for being here. I find it an honor and a blessing for you to be here with me. And I give our Lord Jesus Christ all the glory. Lord Jesus, this is the craziest time, Lord. This Lord Jesus, please be with us. Lord Jesus, your word said these days would come. Lord Jesus, please give us the strength. Please give us understanding, Lord. Allow those that don't know you, Lord, to know you, because it is coming. It is here. It's not coming. It's here, Lord. We see it happening. These events that are happening, people, are biblical events. This stuff is happening. I did a video earlier and I was sitting there talking about, all the stuff that's happening, like the lawlessness, right? The left are completely supporting lawlessness 100%. And to give you an example, the whole Sussman trial, they're supporting lawlessness. What was once considered good is now considered evil. And what was considered evil is now considered good. And these people reject the truth. This is happening. And I told people, I said, look, this is happening on such a large scale. It's not just one thing. It's not just a couple of things. It's not just 5 things happening. It is multiple things happening in the world that a lot of people still don't even want to look at it, what's happening. And I'm just screaming it out right now. Look, pay attention. I told people, and it's no secret what I've told. Look at this. Look at this. You have the Pope. And how many of you are Catholic? I'm not Catholic. But how many of you are Catholic? Now, I got a quick question for you. For those of you that are Catholic, when you hear this story, and the Communist News Network, they love this story. The liberal media, they love this story because the Pope decided to select somebody that was for the sodomites. You understand what I'm saying? Listen to this. It's very important because this is growing. And this is another indication of the times that we're living in.
Pope Francis elevating a progressive bishop to cardinal.
A progressive bishop. Come on now. How do you see?
Raising questions about what kind of clergy he would like to see in the United States. CNN has reporters around the world covering all the latest.
This is wild.
I'm Delia Gallagher in Rome. The United States has a new cardinal. Pope Francis has named San Diego Bishop Robert McElroy, the only American, as one of 21 new cardinals to be installed August 27th in a ceremony at the Vatican. McElroy is known as a progressive, a friend of the LGBTQ community, and against denying communion to pro-choice politicians. Robert.
Y'all hear this? There's more to this. There's more to this. See, this is exactly what I've been talking about. And it's not me talking about it. It's exactly what the Bible warned us about. And it's happening right now. And I'm just waiting for the false prophet to step on the scene, along with the Antichrist. And so many people, and I'm pretty sure people are going to send me messages right now. Well, it's not happening. It's not happening like you think it is because we're still here. I'm telling you. And a lot of people get upset with me. And you know what? That's fine. That's fine. But if I'm right, which I've been right, and I'm telling you, y'all, people are going to be upset. Look what's happening. You're still here, and look what's happening. I'm not the one making this up. It's happening right now before our very eyes. Did you ever think, and you're Catholic, did you ever think that the Pope would be doing this? And he specifically selected him, and this dude is for sodomites. And the liberal left is rejoicing in it.
McElroy says he is stunned and deeply surprised after Pope Francis named him as one of the newly selected cardinals of the Catholic Church. The only one from the U.S. McElroy is one of 21 names Francis read off to a crowd during his remarks on Sunday. McElroy was one of a few bishops to sign a statement of support for LGBTQ youth and has called for U.S. church policy to better reflect Pope Francis's concerns over global poverty. But just as interesting as those who were asked to take on cardinal positions were those who weren't. One being San Francisco Archbishop Salvatore Cordileone, who made headlines last week for his decision to ban House Speaker Nancy Pelosi from receiving communion because of her stance on abortion rights. McElroy has yet publicly to weigh in on Supreme Court's upcoming decision on whether to overturn Roe v. Wade.
Now, why wouldn't the Pope select the one that is for life? Just a quick question. And again, if you're Catholic, what goes through your mind on this? See, I'm not Catholic, and I'm not going to become Catholic, and I'm not downing people who are Catholic. But if you're Catholic and you see the Pope doing this, what's going through your mind? I mean, it's a valid question. I'm just asking the question here. What's going through your mind with them literally going with somebody that's going against God's word? How do you do this? How does this happen? I'll tell you how it happens. See, the left, they have this agenda to change what it is to be a Christian. And if you don't want to change your views on what it is to be a Christian, they want to say that Christians are the problem. I said this years ago, since I've been doing these videos, and I've been doing these videos since 2015. And then since that time, because I've been paying attention, I said, what is coming? And I remember, I never forget it. I was at this hospital. And I was outside. I had to take someone to the hospital, and it was late night. It was dark outside, and I did this video, and it dawned on me that right then that we are the generation, we're living in a time where we are going to see them come after Christians. And when they're going to try to change what it is to be a Christian. See, if you don't want to change what it is to be a Christian and accept the sinful acts and the sinful lifestyle, then they will deem you as a problem. Don't believe me? Let me share this with you. Because, and I'll be honest with you, my producer sent this to me and said, hey, you need to look at this. You need to talk about this because they're saying that Christian nationalists are the problem. You hear this? Like it's a problem to be a Christian. Well, you know what? I put Christ first in everything that I do, no matter what it is. There's not a single thing that I do not include my God. Not a single thing. Everything. When I'm doing something wrong, I include God because I'm being convicted. Let's listen to this. Listen.
LGBT community has been making strides fighting for their rights in America for years. But the GOP has introduced a slew of don't say gay style bills that target the community.
That is a total lie. Again, she start off the bat lying. There was no bill that said don't say gay. There was never such a thing. They didn't want them grooming children.
Accusing the left of grooming children to become gay, as if you can do that. But State Senator Mallory McMorrow was not.
As if they can do that? That's exactly what they're doing. I have a video that I'm going to play for you where Disney just released it where they're actually grooming kids.
Having that. Watch.
I didn't expect to wake up yesterday to the news that the senator from the 22nd district had overnight accused me by name of grooming and sexualizing children in an email fundraising for herself. I want every child in this state to feel seen, heard, and supported, not marginalized and targeted because they are not straight, white, and Christian. We cannot let hateful people tell you otherwise, to scapegoat and deflect from the fact that they are not doing anything to fix the real issues that impact people's lives.
They have no policies. Statistically speaking, Americans have become much more accepting of the gay community. In 1985, 89% of parents said they would be sad if they discovered their child was gay or lesbian. By 2015, it was down to 39%.
They're making it trendy. And again, majority of the nation is not for sodomy. They're lying. Because if that was the case, right? If majority of the nation was for sodomy, then they wouldn't have to go to Supreme Court to try to force everyone to say, hey, this man and this man is married. They would allow the states to do it because then all the states would vote for it. But see, even in California, what was it? 808 or 802? They had a bill there where the people in California voted should, sodomite marriage, and they all voted no against it. So they wanted to federalize it. So then that way all the states will have to adopt it. The majority of the nation doesn't follow sodomy. They're lying.
So the country is evolving. Apparently the GOP is not. Why?
Well, I think anytime society is taking big steps forward in progression, I think the resistance to it becomes even bigger. I think it's going to continue moving forward, and there will be acceptance, and the fight is not over. I don't know how long it will take, but it's kind of indicative of how we work as human beings in this society. We freak the heck out, and we pull back even stronger, and we start demonizing people.
You know what this is, right? This is almost like a movie, like we're watching a movie. They're trying to change what it is for humanity. They're trying to change humanity. They're trying to change what God has created. These people are filled with demonic spirits, and you're seeing it. They're filled with demonic spirits, people. This is real. This is not just make-believe. This is actually happening.
Yeah. Look, I think the reason that it's back is because it's worked. And because fear and phobias and paranoias, all of that works. And so they no longer can do it surrounding gay marriage. In 2004, 31% of Americans approved of gay marriage, 60% disapproved. In today's date, 70% approve, 31% disapprove. But if you remember, that was the wedge issue in 2004. Funny enough, a friend of mine, Ken Melman, who was the RNC chair and the chairman of George W. Bush's campaign, which used this as a very effective wedge issue. And years later, Ken Mehlman came out as gay and was a Republican who worked very hard to in support of marriage equality in the Supreme Court. So
let me stop it right there real quick. Now, if you're living a sodomite lifestyle, you know, they're trying to say that the GOP is against people living their life freely. The GOP is not for, you know, against people living their life freely. The left, they are though. And I can prove that to you. Because if you don't think the way they want you to think, they'll go all out their way to cancel you. They'll find out where you work to get you fired from your job. If you don't want to go out in a parade, because they've done it before. But the GOP, they don't go to people's place of business to try to get people fired because they're living a certain lifestyle. You can't make this stuff up. You can't make it up.
Today's fear is not about gay marriage anymore because we're past that one. Today's fear is about your children. And your children are getting groomed. And your children are being sexualized. And your children are being indoctrinated. Well, let me ask you this, Jane.
And you know what? It is true. They're grooming kids, and then they try to say that they're not grooming kids. And you hear them. She hit on it, but I don't think she doesn't even have an issue with them grooming kids. She don't. She's trying to come across like she's the Republican, but she's just a rhino. They are doing this, people. How demonic can you be?
Can you be indoctrinated into being gay or being straight?
Absolutely not. You can't. I mean, there's no way to do it. I forget who. I'm not going to be able to credit the right person who said, the guy from Star Trek, George Takei. He said, I was groomed to be straight my entire life, and it didn't work.
Right, because it's not a choice.
Right, exactly.
You're born that way.
That is a total lie. You are not. Where's the evidence of that? Can someone show a gay gene? Where's the evidence? If you can say someone is born that way, then you can prove it without a doubt. I can prove to you that on the screen right now, we have one female that's Cuban. I'm assuming that she's Cuban, right? And you have one that's black and you have one that's white. They were born that way, right? And you know what? They were born as women. They were born as women. We can prove it. We can prove it without a shadow of doubt, right? We can prove it. We can do a DNA test even if you want to go that far. But trying to say that someone's born a sodomite, that is not true. Most of the time, kids are introduced to certain things when they're young by certain people, and they're completely okay with it because it's grooming. And now they want to groom kids even more so they can have more people live this sodomite lifestyle. It's pretty repulsive.
I have to say, I think this is because the Republican Party doesn't really have a platform that is in line with American values, right? When you really look at it. And when you don't have a platform, you do have to resort to fear. And this is just cyclical and it's out of their playbook. And I think LBJ said it best.
Okay, she's getting ready to go to LBJ, Lyndon Johnson, seriously, which completely hated black people. The same one that said he'll have N-words voting Democrat within the next 200 years and did it within 60 and still doing it, right? Still happening.
Said if you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Hell, give him somebody to look down on and he'll empty his pockets for you. And that is really what is happening. And we saw this happening with CRT, right? Let's just target black and brown people. Once they were successful doing that, the next group, the LGBTQ plus community.
But why does
they try to target
why does the base
marginalized
keep
people?
falling for this, though? They're voting against their own interests. The Democratic Party is trying to help them with their lives.
Because it works.
And all they're
They
doing
trigger the emotion.
Why?
They trigger the fear.
I also think
This is crazy. I mean, you know what? How is it you're voting against your own interest? If you want to talk about voting against your own interests, that is someone voting for the Democrat Party. Because the Democrat Party is all about grooming your kids. If you care about your kids, if you love your children, you would not be a Democrat. I'm just saying. You can't serve the Democrat and be a Christian at the same time. It's an oxymoron. You can't do it because the Democrat Party supports everything of Satan. You can't tell me that God approves of them grooming kids. You can't. And if anyone has that in their mind, you have become a demonic demon. There's nowhere that God would approve you grooming kids, sexualizing kids, perverting kids.
We often conflate sexuality and gender. And I think in pockets of people who are misinformed or ignorant, you can stoke fear when they don't understand the difference. Gay rights and a lot of these battles have been fought for decades, and we have made a lot of strides. As recently as 2020, they were finally a protected class, according to the 1964 Civil Rights Act, which was way overdue to protect someone based on their sexuality. You could still fire them before 2020 based on who they had private relations with. But my point here is I think what's somewhat new, and this isn't because I agree, but I think what we're seeing is gender is confusing people. Gender and fluidity is much more understood by the generations that are coming up right now. I think they're locking into this and people are conflating gay and gender. Because when you really look at, and this is just more to pinpoint the problem so we can try to fix it, which is these laws are abhorrent, but they need to distinguish what their confusion is because they're grouping a lot of gay issues into this. And even though the community is LGBTQ+, I feel like we've come so far with so many things with gay rights and marriage.
You know what? There's always a new angle. How do we reinvent the fear?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. They're literally talking about grooming kids, and they're upset because you have members of the GOP that are Christian that are pushing back on them sexualizing kids. Am I missing something? Let me guess. How many of you are okay with it? I mean, is there anybody out there okay with adults sexualizing children? Were you sexualized as a child? Did they come groom you? See, I never heard of grooming kids until here recently, right? I never heard of that. Have they groomed kids in the past? Most definitely, right? But it wasn't something that they're just throwing all out there now today, like they are now, trying to get all these kids to say, oh, this is just wonderful. This is great. And like I mentioned to y'all, and I'm going to show this one to you. Now, I can't play the audio on there because there's music in there and they'll ding me, right? And I'm just going to kind of skip through some of this because I'm going to just do it like photos, right? Because if I play the video, then they'll be saying I'm playing their content, right? So I'm just going to show it to you. This is a dress of this person here. This is on Disney. This is on Disney Plus. And they're doing this and they're targeting kids. This is a man in a dress targeting kids. Literally. A man targeting kids. How come they never have women dressing up like men, right? For the most part. But you know they're going to start throwing it in there because they want to be inclusive, right? And all this is on June 1st. They came out hitting hard. And you know what? There's a lot of conservatives right now that support sodomy. Because they say, well, I have friends that live the sodomite lifestyle. Well, that doesn't mean you need to support sodomy. You can support your friend if your friend in supports, if your friend, support your friend on the job, support your friend in, day-to-day human needs, but you don't have to support sodomy. It's like, I support them because of my friend. So you're supporting sin. Look at this. This is a man. Here's another one. This is a man. This is a man. Anybody else? And seriously, here's a dude, then it goes back to this. And they're doing this and they're targeting kids. And then they turn around and they say that they don't target kids. Look, there's so much happening in our lives today. There's so much happening in our world. There's so much. There's so much happening. We have them targeting our kids. We have the border crisis. We have the gun issue, which I'm going to try to get into some of that. We have the issue with baby formula. We have the issues with the with the gas. We have issues with our stock market. We have all of this stuff happening at the same time. And a lot of people say, Will, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? Well, I'll tell you this much. You know, after Joe Brandon ended up in the White House, we have to face the facts, right, of what they are doing. We can't ignore it. We can't ignore what they're doing. His tax plan is directly aimed at our retirements. Have y'all looked at y'all 401k? Last week I told you, I said, don't even look at it. Don't even look at it. If you have 401, don't even look at it, right? Because of what he's doing is causing all of these issues. I mean, it's like it got hit and went down double digits. And it's like they're trying to, you know what it is? They're trying to do the Build Back broker, the Build Back better, and going to tear stuff down. And people ask me, well, what do we do? What do we do? And you know what? So I've teamed up with Goldco. I'm just letting you know here. I teamed up with Goldco, and they said if you move your money right now, you can put it into you can open an account with them, and you can move your money 100% tax free and penalty free. I mean, how could you not do it? For everyone that's watching, I put a link in the description of the video. No matter how you're watching this, I put a link in the description of the video from most places. And just go to, seriously, just go to willlikesgo.com. The description, click it in the description right there. And one of the things they said for the friends of Goldco, you can get up to $5,000 in free silver when you open up an account. That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. But you got to do something because they're coming. I've constantly told people they are coming. Now, let me play something else for you. So I just put that in there because people need to do something. And like, what do we do? What do we do? Because you see what's happening. Now, this is June 1st, and you're still talking about, and they still don't know the difference between a man and a woman. Let me play this clip for you, what Tucker was saying, where they're talking about it.
So it used to be easy to answer the question, what is a woman? What do women want? That was a whole nother question. But what is a woman? You know, no one even asked it because it was so obvious. You could tell by looking. Now, even Supreme Court justices don't know the answer. So to get to the bottom of this new question, it's an essential question, Matt Walsh decided to make a documentary about this. The piece is called What is a Woman? In the film, Matt Walsh spoke to gender-affirming therapists to better understand his own gender. Here's part of it.
With the fluidity of these things, how do I know if I'm a woman? You know,
That's a great question.
I like scented candles, and
yeah.
I've watched Sex and the City.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do I know?
Yeah, Matt, that question right there, like that question is like when it's asked with a lot of curiosity, right? That's the beginning of a lot of people's like gender identity development journeys.
What is a woman?
Yeah. Great question. I'm not a woman, so I can't really answer that.
What? How do you not be able to answer that? And look at Tucker. See, this is why they can't stand Tucker. Because see, Tucker look at this stupidity and he's like, what? What?
Yeah. If you like scented candles, it could be the beginning of your gender development journey. Walsh also spoke to a pediatrician who assured them that women taking puberty blockers, while it may effectively castrate them, is no big deal.
A kiddo who is just starting puberty and panicking because they're getting breast buds or they're...
This is, I mean, you know what? It's so disgusting. And of course, I have to stop it there because I'm afraid that they're going to end up dinging me, taking the video down because people need to see this information. They need to see the content in this. And for them to sit here and push puberty blockers onto kids, you should be highly disturbed by it. Highly.
Of course, puberty blockers are not completely reversible, and they absolutely do have permanent effects, obviously. So that raises the question, are those interviews real? We thought we'd ask Matt Walsh directly. He's the host of the Matt Walsh Show. His documentary, What is a Woman, is out now at the Daily Wire. Matt, thanks so much, first of all, for making this. Second, for coming on to explain it. But those interviews, just those clips we showed, were so over the top. Were those real?
I wish I could say that we invented that. The thing is, if I was going to invent like a parody of left-wing gender theory, I would never think to create, a therapist who tells me that I'm actually a woman because I like scented candles. I would have thought that's too far, but no, this is very real. And one thing that that comes out in the film is that a lot of this stuff on the surface, it's hilarious because it's so absurd, but then you realize that this gender ideology is utterly pervasive. And it's all over the country. And what you just heard there, I mean, a therapist who will tell you that, yeah, you might be a woman because you like scented candles. There are people who are actually confused going into these kinds of counselors and therapists and coming out even more confused, which is all by design. So there's the absurdity on the surface, and then underneath it, it's really quite sinister.
So the second interview, the clip that we played, that was a physician? Because she claimed puberty blockers have no long-term effects, which of course is not true. So why does she have a license still? Is she a doctor?
She's a doctor, and she's also she's a pediatrician. She specializes in this kind of thing, working with gender-confused kids and putting them on the path to chemical castration, which is exactly what that is, by the way. I mean, we get into an exchange about this. The drug they use that they call puberty blockers is that's Lupron, and that drug is actually used to chemically castrate sex offenders, and they are giving it to kids. And I brought that up to her in the film, and that was the first time that she threatened to get up and walk out of the room because she didn't want to talk about it. But that is exactly what these people are doing. And but what we discovered, of course, is that they don't want to answer any questions at all about any of this, and they can't. I mean, the gender ideology and the agenda that they have cannot withstand even the slightest scrutiny, which is sort of the point of the question is, okay, let's define our terms. What even is a woman? They can't answer that. They don't have an answer to that question.
And you know what's really amazing? And that's one thing, another thing, like with the bringing like the guns, right? And they say, and the connection there is that they say that people with guns need to go through a health screening check, right? The same people that can't differentiate between a man and a woman, they're the ones who wanted to do the screening, right? I mean, do y'all understand what I'm saying? These people that are wanting to do this stuff to children and basically just butcher kids, put kids on these drugs, and they want to confuse kids even more. They're the same ones that's saying that they should be the ones who say who can purchase a gun, who can own a gun. They're the same ones that's saying that. Wow. I really can't wrap my mind around this. How much these people are so demonic. I want to share something else with you. And this one is, for those of you that don't know, I went down to Uvalde. I was down there just yesterday. And I went there and I talked to a few people, and they're all just upset. The leftists are all upset, and they just want to make it to where you cannot defend yourself. They never talk about disarming criminals. And why is that? How come they don't talk about disarming criminals, but they're quick to want to disarm you? What am I missing here? Now, of course, you have these pastors, right? When it comes to killing the baby in the womb, they don't see a problem with that. They don't go out there and say, you need to choose between God or death. They say, hey, the woman needs to be able to kill the baby. They don't say it in those words, but that's exactly what they're saying. I want to play a clip for you from one of Satan's pastors. Listen to this. Wow.
Elijah challenged the people. How long are you going to be on the fence? How long are you going to keep sitting in thoughts and prayers and doing nothing? How long are you going to allow lobbyists with ideologies and agendas that are not in line with God's will to control your decisions? How long Are we going to allow these mass shootings to happen without any type of intervention or legislative intervention that might not alleviate it all but can mitigate it? How long? You're going to be torn and sitting on the fence. Here it is. If God is the real God, follow him. If it's Baal, follow him. But make up your mind. Here it is. Elijah's very clear. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't have it both ways. And some of the things that we are putting an and, God and guns. No, Elijah said, no, there comes a point in everybody's life, in every nation, where you got to make a decision. And it can't be God and guns.
Replace the gun with a sword. See, you won't do that. Replace the gun with a sword. See, these are demonic people that know exactly what they're doing. And they've done this in the past. They got people to just give up their freedoms and not even pay attention to what this tyrannical, evil government is doing. Just give up. Give it up to Satan.
You got to choose God or guns. God, you going to trust him? Or you going to trust that your freedom and everything else is coming through your weaponry and your artillery? You going to trust God and live for his will and his desire for the imago Dei in the lives of humanity? Or you going to trust guns and do nothing and continue to see people cut down and their image, the image of God in them, denied?
See, this is when they take the Bible and they twist it. They completely twist it. And they never want to acknowledge. Even in the Bible, it said, take your corn purse and go buy you a sword, right? Buy a sword. Why would it even say that? Why would God even have people go to wars during that time? Still doing it. Man just don't acknowledge it. They take everything that they want to do as communism, socialism, this Satanism, and they try to implement and push it onto the rest of us. To give another example of people being misled and deceived by the masses, look at this one.
We're introducing legislation to implement a national freeze on handgun ownership. What this means is that it will no longer be possible to buy, sell, transfer, or import handguns anywhere in Canada. In other words, we're capping the market for handguns.
And you hear this all clapping. He's following in his daddy's footsteps. Wow. Wow. And you know why he's doing it? He's doing it because of what happened in America, not something that happened in Canada, right? So it's to say, they go ahead and do the same thing in Israel because what happened in America. This is a whole globalist takedown. This is part of their World Economic Forum. And see, they're probably not liking me saying that, so I have to be really careful here on YouTube, especially YouTube, right? Because the CEO of YouTube showed up to the World Economic Forum trying to tell everybody what disinformation is, but completely left out the fact that they removed people's channels for telling the truth. Completely left that out. But this is a one world global takeover. We are seeing it. And they used to say that when people would talk about the one world system, they used to say, well, hey, that's just a conspiracy. That's a conspiracy. And I can't play this video. This is the CEO of YouTube. And I wish I could play the video for you. I probably upload it on my Rumble or put it on my locals or something like that. or even Getter, or I can't put it on True Social because it's too long. But she's on here telling people what disinformation is. Like they're the arbiters on what's right, what's wrong, and what you should know and what you shouldn't know. Right? And look where she is. She's at the World Economic Forum. Why in the world is YouTube there? Why are they there? And it's all part of this whole globalist system. And again, I would like to play the video for you with the lady, the CEO from YouTube, but I can't do that because there's the stuff that she's talking about. YouTube will ding me. Imagine that. I can't play videos of the CEO from YouTube talking. And the reason why is because they want to harm everybody that doesn't play along with their agenda. That's their main goal. They will harm everybody who doesn't want to play along with their agenda. Okay, so I want to play a clip. Now, this is, like I told you, I was in Uvalde yesterday, and I'm just standing out there, and people are just walking by, people kind of quiet and stuff. And if y'all saw the video yesterday, I kind of, just did a little video talking about it while I was there. I went live, and while I'm there, and I'm not approaching people. Hey, you want to talk to me? Hey, you want to talk to me? I didn't approach anybody. If people saw me with the camera and the microphone, if they wanted to talk, then I would talk to them. But I didn't go up to anybody sticking the microphone in their face saying, what do you think? What do you think? I didn't do that at all. Not a single time. So I just stood there. And while I'm standing there, this black dude walks up to me. And he says he's the lawyer representing some of the families here in Uvalde because of this horrific act. And he says he's also representing some of the people in Buffalo, New York. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is interesting. The lawyer, right? One of the lawyers representing him. And I want to play some of this clip for you. I'm going to play some of this for you and listen to what he says. And me being who I am, I don't know, some of y'all just bear with it. I turn it on and I let him talk and I'm not going to put the whole video out here because the whole video is 30 minutes and it's good. And in the beginning, he's like talking. But in the whole clip, you start seeing me come into the scene like this, look. When I'm there in Uvalde, I start coming into the scene like this. Yep, and I'm talking to him just a little bit. And then I come in a little bit more and I'm talking to him just a little bit. And then I come in a little bit more and I'm talking to him just a little bit. And the next thing you know, I'm in the scene. I'm in the shot with him, talking to him. About time I got in the scene talking to him, I start letting him have it. And he's a lawyer, mind you. He's a lawyer. And I'm like telling him this stuff and he has no clue. He had no idea on some of the stuff that I was talking about. And he wanted to argue with me. It was a trip. It was a trip. And the guy that was with him was confirming what I was saying. Oh man, but this is so good. But listen to this clip. Okay, listen to some of this. I'm not going to play all of it. I got short clips of this, but like I said, I'm going to have the whole 30-minute and I'll probably put on Rumble, probably put on Locals, but I really get into it. Listen to this.
My name is Charles Bonner, B-O-N-N-E-R. I'm a civil rights attorney, along with my partner here, Jesse Ryder, and my legal assistant, Sandra Beltran. And we represent some victims here, as well as in Buffalo, New York. The story here is student safety first. Our children must be safe when they go to school. And because of the profit motive by those people who are manufacturing guns and selling guns, our children are not safe. And it's everyone's responsibility, not just us lawyers, but everyone in America, to protect our children, to put children and students' safety first. What we will do as our part, we will sue with a $27 billion lawsuit against all the responsible parties to this tragedy, to this massacre. That include from the gun manufacturer, to the gun salesman, to the social media, Discord, and any other social media that publish this young 16-year-old boys, 18-year-old boys' threats.
Let me stop it. There's just a couple more seconds to this. He's wanting to do a $27 billion lawsuit against Discord. And for those of you that don't know what Discord is, it's like a lot of gamers will use it. A lot of gamers get on there. A lot of the youth will get on there, and they'll share pictures and they'll just chat with one another. And they made the Discord where it connects to some of the online games that people play, not just children but adults. A lot of people, millions and millions of people on it. And he's sitting there saying that they published it. The issue here is he's saying that they published it. Discord published it. Right? That's the goal, to say that Discord is a publishing company, which they are not. Just like Facebook and YouTube, they are not publishing companies. Do they act like publishing companies? Absolutely. Because when you publish something that they disagree with, they will unpublish your work simply because they disagree with it. They do it multiple times. So they act like a publishing company. And at the same time, well, we have Section 230. We're not a publishing company, but they still act like it. But listen to this. Listen to this.
All the police officers, the cops who for 61 minutes failed to go in and rescue these babies as they were being slaughtered, we will sue them. They have to be held accountable. And that's at every level of the police department. This is intolerable. It is happening all across America, and it must stop. And it's up to each individual American, whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, or independent. It's up to us to stop it. Our government has shown the government will not stop it because it's a profit generating incident for them. It's a profit motive. They will not stop it.
He's saying that the government will not stop it because there's profits in it, right? And later on in the video that I have, I asked him, I said, well, you know, the Planned Parenthood, they make profit from killing babies. Right. But he said that's not the same thing. That's not the same thing. Because I said, is it the same thing? No, it's not the same thing. And it's really interesting. And you have to bring up the whole fact, if we're talking about saving, protecting children, we should talk about saving, protecting children at all aspects. We can't just select, okay, I want to protect children here, but I don't want to protect them here. I think we should protect children all around. Now, again, I don't have time to show all of those videos to you. I have a whole bunch of clips that I would love to show to you. But one that I want to show to you is this one here. And like I said, the white male here with him, he's an attorney. They're working together. And he was talking to me. And while I was having a conversation with him, I brought up an extremely valid point. And he agreed to it. But they were kind of pushing back. And he says he's a conservative. This is my first time meeting him. But the black lawyer that I was talking to, he didn't like anything what I was saying. And like I said, the full video is just so, I mean, it was like, wow, this is good stuff here. But listen to this one.
I appreciate you having a conversation with me, but the only problem I have is if we do it at 21, and then we'll have criminals at 21 do something, and then it's going to go to 25, and then it's going to go to 30, and then before you know it, we're going to end up just like these other communist nations in the past. We've got to look at history before we just jump out there and say we want to do something.
We have right now a struggle in our country for the minds of our children. Are we going to let the cigarette companies get young children addicted? No, we've stopped their advertising.
But let me ask you this: if we had all,
okay, now this is where it comes right here, and it dawned on me when I'm standing out there. Listen,
these police officers here with firearms right now before this happened, do you think it would have happened?
Well, there were a bunch of police officers here with firearms, and then
not before he walked up to the school. If we had all these police officers here, do you think it would have happened?
Well, probably not.
Probably not. But probably not.
Good guys with guns inside.
No, but before, if he would have walked up to the school and we had these armed guards, would it happen? No, it wouldn't have.
See, they don't want to acknowledge that. Well, there was good guys with a gun. There was a good guy with a gun, and it happened. If the good guys with the gun were there, which we should be adopting, just like in Israel, we should be adopting that. The good guys with the gun, before the monster gets there, the monster will think twice. The monster will think twice. What do you think? Now, I was talking to a young man, and he brought up a really good point. If you have these signs, right? A lot of people have these signs in their home saying that, you know, beware, owner will protect their property, any means necessary. You might get, trespassing, you might get shot, right? The criminals in the jail cell, he said they did a report, they did an analysis, and they found out that all the criminals that, did burglaries and et cetera, they said every home that you went to, they had those signs that you might get shot. Did you go and burglarize those homes, or did you just go to the next one? Every single one of them said they went to the next home. It's the same thing with the schools. The exact same thing with the schools. 9/11 was another thing. A lot of people have been bringing it up. 9/11. After 9/11, we didn't ban airplanes. We didn't ban people from getting on the airplane. What we did is we beefed up the security. They enforced the doors to the cockpit. They beefed up security. How come we can't do that for our children? Please explain it to me. And then they go, well, we don't want our kids walking around as like they're in a prison. Why is it a prison? You have, the left, they have that in their mind. I see that as them protecting children. That's the difference. That's the difference. So instead, they want to disarm law-abiding citizens, but criminals, they don't say nothing about them. It's like that's the goal. Let's get these criminals to constantly do it. Let's get the criminals to do it. All right, we are here at the end. I want to say thank you to a few people before we bounce out of here. I want to say thank you to a few people. And you know what? Because of your blessings, because of your support, I went down to Uvalde, and I wasn't going to, I'll be honest with you, I didn't want to go because it was such a horrible act, right? It was such a horrible thing. It's such a horrible thing. And I saw that and I was like, but I got to go and report on it. I was 3 hours away because it was just so much information just coming out of there. And I was actually, before I go to this, it looked like number 12 for Venmo. Thank you, number 12. I'm not sure who number 12 is, but thank you, number 12. Okay. Oh, it's Jessica. Thank you, Jessica, for the Venmo. But let me say this. I actually talked to the mayor of Uvalde, and this is the same mayor that in the video when Robert Francis O'Rourke tried to confront Governor Abbott, he was the same mayor that got up and told him to get out, called him an SOB for politicizing the death of these children. And ever since then, Robert Francis O'Rourke poll numbers have been going down, down, down. We don't need to let anybody forget what he has done. Lori, you are awesome. Lori is one of my moderators on Facebook. Thank you so much, Lori, for the blessing. Kevin, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you so much, Kevin. And then we have Betty Bo Bop. Thank you, Betty Boo, Betty Bop. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Tammy, thank you so much for the stars. Thank you so much, Tammy. Tanya, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tanya. And then Tim, thank you so much, Tim. I really do appreciate it. And then Patty, thank you so much, Patty. And then Joyce, thank you so much, Joyce. I really do appreciate it. Michelle, thank you so much for helping me out here. Thank you so much for the blessings. Thank you so much. Mikey, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. Amy, thank you so much as well. Thank you so much, Amy. And then Kenneth, thank you so much, Kenneth. I really do appreciate it. And then Christina, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So these are Facebook stars I'm talking about here. And then the Justice, thank you so much for the stars. And then Danny, what's going on, Danny? Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And then Laura, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And Kelly, thank you so much as well. I really do appreciate it, Kelly. And then Mike, thank you so much, Mike. And then Jerry, wow, thank you so much, everybody. I really do appreciate it. And Cal, thank you so much. Let me be clear about something, because I want to say this, and my producer probably doesn't want me to say it, and but let me just go ahead and say this. My producer go, what? Nah. My producer's awesome, actually. Very wise, very wise. She helps me out more than anybody on the planet. I'm telling you. Someone sent me a message saying that, me saying thank you to people, I shouldn't be doing it. And I'm not going to say the person's name who said it. And this person said they like watching my videos and they tune in. But and they came to the approach of like, I'm doing it glorifying them. And that's not the case. I always give God all the glory. And I've mentioned this before, but it dawned on me again, and I've been compelled to say it. I say thank you to all of you for just hitting the share button. And if I could see your names hitting the share button, I would say thank you, right? But I say thank you to people who support me in what I'm doing here, because this happens because God puts it on your heart, right? So I'm just saying thank you to people. And I'm not glorifying you. I'm not putting you on a pedestal. I glorify God, and I thank God for you, putting you in my life, because we are the body of Christ. We are supposed to support one another. I hope this is making sense. I hope this makes sense. I hope this makes sense. And I can't tell you how much it really helps, because throughout all of this time that I've been doing this, and these tech companies, they try to say that they want to help you, but they do stuff. They do stuff to harm me. And I keep pushing forward, and I keep trying to do it, but they keep pushing it. So I think my producer said there was another one. Let me see here. Jennifer, thank you so much, Jennifer. Thank you so much. And then Robert, thank you so much, Robert. You know what? And Amy, thank you so much, Amy. I'm glad and I'm blessed to have all of you tune in and watch. And you know what? It's even a blessing when you hit the share button. It's even a blessing when you hit the share button. So I thank you. God bless. Good night.
Thank you.